A question: why does this scene have a lot more narrative impact than this one? Granted, The Rise of Skywalker is a film about finding a MacGuffin to find another MacGuffin to find the bad guy. So there's not a lot of narrative going on up in there in the first place. And by the time they got to the wreck of the Death Star and Rey took the dagger out and used it to measure the location of the Wayfinder like a sextant inside the wreck of the Death Star, I completely lost it. Think about it for a second. If she were to stand a couple of feet away from this exact spot, she wouldn't have been able to find the thing. But no, she casually strolled in and miraculously stood on exactly the same spot. What in the blue flying fuck? And this isn't even the real issue here that I want to talk about. I want to talk about the fake outs in the film that made it lose its narrative weight and with it any emotional impact. Take the death of Chewbacca for example. It is such an emotionally powerful moment. Rey loses balance of the Force for just a second in trying to go all out and ends up killing her friend. And not just any friend, one of the very dear characters from the originals. And it devastates her. Now, instead of using this to grow Rey as a person, they decided to undo it altogether. Turns out, lo and behold, Chewie is alive. He was on a different ship than the one Rey destroyed. And this is not the only time they do it. They kill off another very important character later down the story, C-3PO. Now, I know he gets his memory wiped, which is not the same as dying, but it kinda is. You see, C-3PO is the oldest character in the series, except for Palpatine, but fuck that clone bitch, I don't give a crap. 3PO has been there for literally generations. He knows all the people from Qui-Gon Jinn to little baby Ben Solo. Now, to translate what was written on the dagger, they would need to wipe his memory and reboot him. And without his memory, years and years worth of data, he would be just another droid, one of millions. So yeah, it is the same as dying. Before the memory wipe, there is a very touching scene where he says goodbye to his friends.
What are you doing there, 3PO?
Taking one last look, sir, at my friends.
And then they really do wipe his memory clean. Yes, the big sad. But not really. R2 has his memory backed up for some reason. So yeah, he's not dead. So it makes it another thing that's only done to pull on your heartstrings, but is undone immediately. So it doesn't have any kind of narrative consequences. During this whole sequence, we also meet Zorii Bliss, who is kind of like a love interest for Poe. There's a whole scene of them talking about the good old days.
Wanna come with me?
She even gives them the First Order Captain's Medallion to help them get through the First Order security. And then the whole planet gets destroyed and everybody we've just met on the planet, including Zorii, is dead. Except they're not dead. Apparently they evacuated just moments before the planet's destruction. Now that is some First Order level bullshit. Even Babu fucking Frick makes it out alive. It's ridiculous. Also, on the wreck of the Death Star, when Rey is fighting Kylo Ren, Leia distracts Kylo and Rey stabs him, making for another very impactful moment between mother and son. But never mind, Rey force heals him, which by the way is another ass-pull force power that they introduced in this movie. Long story short, the movie does this to you again and again, and in doing so it loses respect. You stop giving a crap, and by the end of the movie, you're just too fed up to care when the Resistance is losing, or when Rey is dying, or when Kylo is dying, or when Leia is dying. The narrative becomes weightless, and the victory comes without any catharsis or exhilaration. And you're left sitting there wondering, what the fuck am I supposed to feel about this? Alright guys, don't forget to subscribe and smash like if you liked the video, share it with your friends, and I'll see you all in the next one.